Reaction to hazards, right of way and progress. Everyone needs to watch this video because learner drivers find it so confusing. So in your driving test, it's all about knowing when to go and when to slow and not mixing them up and doing it backwards. Now that sounds so simple, but everyone tends to do the same thing. So I'm going to show you a load of examples from the whiteboard and hopefully this makes sense. So the very first example here I'm going to show you is this. We're the green car, we're driving straight down the road. We see two young lads, it looks like they're about to cross the road. So they're walking towards the edge of the road. Step one in all this for you is, I can see the two boys, looks like they're going across. All we do is come off the gas. When I say gas, I mean accelerator. So we see the two boys, looks like they're going across, we're off the gas. The boys will do either two things usually. They will turn around, look at you, and decide, okay, we're going to stay on the footpath and continue to walk this way. In this scenario, they're staying on the footpath. You have right of way. That's when we progress gradually. We don't have to go fast past them, but just back on the gas and drive past them. The other thing they normally do is, this is what more than likely will happen, they will look at your car. Okay, we see the car in front of us. Let's run across in front of the car because we have enough time. That's different. That's when it's reaction to hazards. Although the two boys shouldn't have done it, they ran out in front of us. That's when we slow at the brake. Depending how close determines how hard you brake or if you need to stop. What we don't want to do is this. The two boys, same scenario, they look at us and run out in front of us across the road. We don't want to go heavier on the gas and accelerate or even just gradually accelerate. When we see them, that's when we slow. Another thing we don't want to do is if they see us and continue to stay on the footpath because they know the rules of the road, we don't want to go heavy on the brake here and stop. Because this causes more confusion, because then when the boys get to here, they will look at us and say, okay, he's letting us cross. And we don't want to do that. When you have right of way in your test, you're supposed to take it. So in this scenario, we have right of way, we go. So in that example, I used two young boys. That could be anybody. That could be like a lady with her baby. That could be an old person with their shopping. It doesn't matter the principle. Once they look at you and decide to not walk out in front of you, progress. If they step out in front of you, slow or stop. So the next one I'm going to show you is this. We're going to be turning right into a side road and we have a pedestrian that we could potentially have to deal with. So in this scenario, we're turning right. We have right of way over this pedestrian because the pedestrian is supposed to wait until the way is cleared before they cross the road. So usually we're supposed to just make the turn. In this scenario, we're right at the turn and the pedestrian has a good bit of space between him and the footpath. So in this scenario, we have right of way, we go and we progress, all right? No problem at all. What we don't want to do is this. So we're at the turn, we see the pedestrian about 10 meters or so away from the road. We don't want to go heavy on the brake here and stop and look at this pedestrian and more or less force this pedestrian to cross the road while we wait there. When you stop here and look at that pedestrian, that's basically what you're telling them to do. You're saying, I'm waiting here, you go across the road. That would be the opposite of the rules of the road because we're first, we have right of way, we just progress. So in this example, it's very similar, but now the pedestrian is right on top of the road, more or less, and we have a bit of distance away from our correct position to turn. Technically, we still do have right of way. The pedestrian is supposed to wait before they cross the road, but chances are they're not going to do that. They get to the road first, and normally what they do is they start crossing the road, all right? So in this scenario, the correct thing for you to do is drive up and stop in good position, let the pedestrian cross the road, and then you go, all right? What we don't want to do is, okay, we're driving up, we see the pedestrian, We know they're going to do it and they're going to step out. We don't want to just continue on, make our turn, and then have to stop here. We don't want to do that. Another thing we don't want to do, and this is very important, this is called beckoning others. We don't want to get into position here, stop, look at the pedestrian, and tell them to go with your hand. We never want to do that. That's called beckoning others. The correct thing to do in this scenario is if we drive up, the pedestrian can see us and they look at us and they decide to stop walking. You technically have got right of way. If you know they're going to stay there, you gradually make your turn. Do that one nice and slowly. And on the other hand, if you drive up and you can see the pedestrian and you know when someone's going to cross the road, they're like, and they're stepping out and they're stepping out, just get to here, stop. Don't tell them to go. Once you stop and look at them, they will figure it out and they will run across the road and then you finish your turn. That was hard to explain from the whiteboard. If you're enjoying the video and you're serious about passing your driving test, why not join my YouTube membership where I break down the full marking sheet guidelines and I show you exactly what the tester is looking for. I've made it seriously affordable and you will be supporting the channel so I can make bigger and better videos. Click the join button on my page. So the next example I'm going to show you is when there's a car parked on the left and what to do. So we're the green car. For some reason the green markers are very poor, they're not really working. So we're driving down this direction, we're looking ahead, we can see a car parked on the opposite side of the road, also with oncoming traffic. So in this scenario, there's no hazard on our side, we have right of way, we should gradually progress. But step one, like everything else, step one is always looking up the road. We know there's a bit going on, we just want to come off the accelerator slightly in this case. So no hazard on our side, as in no parked car. Generally, we have right of way, we should progress. All right? What we don't want to do is, we're driving along, there's a hazard on that side, there's oncoming traffic. We don't want to go heavy on the brake here for no reason. Because then it's getting really confusing because this person is saying, why are you slowing down here? You have right of way. Okay, I'm in a hurry. I'm going to just do it anyway. And now you've just made it more confusing. All right? So if the hazard is on their side, you're supposed to go. All right? It's different if the car sees if the oncoming car sees this hazard on the left, sees you, and says, I'm in a hurry, I'm going anyway. Then it's different. Then you slow at the brake because then it's reaction to hazards. There's somebody on your side of the road. But only if they come onto your side and get in your way are you going to actually use the brake. Because generally, in this scenario, you do have right of way. So another example when we're talking about parked cars is when you're in one of these really busy estates where the driving test normally takes place and there's cars parked on both sides of the road and it's really confusing. So in this scenario, generally the car in the middle of the road goes first. So imagine we've overtaken the hazards, we're driving down, and now a car appears that wasn't there when we first decided to move out into the middle of the road. So because we're already in the middle, generally we have right of way because we're in the middle first. And this car is supposed to see that, slow down and let us get off the middle of the road and they continue. It would be the same if it was the other way around. That's what we would do in that scenario. Okay, so we're in the middle first. Again, okay, I'm overtaking these parked cars. I can see oncoming traffic. My first instinct is always just come off the gas. It slows you down a little bit and you're just aware that it's going to be a bit narrower when you get a bit closer to this. Step one, off the gas. All right, we are in the middle first. We have got priority. We have right of way. We should just progress slowly and try to get back onto our side of the road. What we don't want to do is, okay, we're overtaking this car. There's not enough room for this car to pass anyway, and go heavy on the brakes here and just park opposite these parked cars and just block the whole road. We don't want to do that. We want to be going through here slowly, getting out of the way so this car can then continue on. So in this example, there is a lot of other things that could happen. If this car just continues to keep on driving at you, well then eventually you are going to have to slow. But 99 times out of 100, they will realise, okay, this car was in the middle first, as in we were in the middle first. If I get any closer here, there's nowhere for either of us to go. So generally, they do stop, and that's your cue to drive in. But again, we're just always off the gas doing stuff like this. We're never accelerating into narrow gaps. So the next example I'm going to show you is we're driving down the road and we notice a car reversing out of the garden. So as you're driving along, we're looking up the road, we're anticipating, we see the car reversing out of the garden. As always, the first step is off the gas, all right? And that'll buy you a bit of time. You just don't want the feeling of being on the gas and going straight to the brake, because that's what gives you that kind of that abrupt stop. All right, so we're driving up, we see the car reversing out. This car can do a few different things. As this car is reversing out, we're off the gas, we're just making sure this car can see us first. When this car turns around, you can see the driver look at you and stopping. In that scenario, you have right of way, you should progress. What you don't want to do, well, it's not that you don't want to do, but it just makes it really confusing, is if the car is up in his garden, you make eye contact with the driver, you know each other is there, and then go heavy on the brake here for no reason. Because then you're saying to this fella, okay, I'm going to stop while you reverse out, making it more difficult for him or her when we are in the way. So a better way, when they stop and look at you, that's your cue. I have right of way, go and get off the road. Another thing this car reversing out of the garden can do is, they're looking around, they see us, but they continue to reverse out anyway. In that case, anticipation, you're looking up the road, you can see the car, you're looking at them reversing out, they're not stopping, that's your cue, reaction to hazards, and stop before you get close to them. You don't want to see them and just keep on rolling, and making it really hard for them to get out of that garden. So when it looks like they're going to keep on going, that's your cue, reaction to hazard, stop, let them get out, straighten up, and then you progress when they're out of your way. So the next example I'm going to show you, this is at a T-junction. So when we're at a T-junction, when we're driving straight, we have right of way, we're supposed to keep going. But in this scenario, we see a red car, they're driving to the top of the T-junction, and we're saying, okay, not sure if this car can see us yet. Step one is always off the gas. It doesn't mean go straight on the brake, just off the gas, figure out what this car is going to do, and then we take it from there. So we see the car coming out the T-junction, we can see the driver. Instead of looking at the car, look at the driver as well. The driver's looking right and left. The driver sees you and stops. I have right of way. We have right of way. We keep going. Progress. Another thing the car could do is look right and left. But you know, by the look of the car, anticipation. I'm anticipating. I think this fella is in a hurry. We're driving up. We're off the gas. Once this car decides, I'm going for it anyway, that's your cue. Reaction to hazards. Now we're on the brake, because even though they shouldn't have, they've pulled out in front of us. That's when we slow down with the brake or stop, depending how close we are. What we don't want to do is, so we're driving along, anticipation, we see the red car. The red car is looking right and left, and they stop. What we don't want to do is go heavy on the brakes, because because you have right of way in this scenario, you're supposed to take your right of way. Now this car is thinking, okay, they're stopping to let me out, and now it's the opposite of the rules of the road, and now the car at the T-junction is going first over you. So if we have right of way, we try to take it. Another thing is, what we don't want to do is, we're driving up, we can see the car pulling out, and the red car pulls out in front of us. We don't want to be continuing to accelerate at them, because we're not reacting appropriately to the hazard being the car pulling out. So once they decide to do it, that's when you're on the brake. I hope this video made sense and it cleared a few things up. If you got some value out of the video, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next videos.